Yo, what up, Deadites? It's your boy KJ
And your girl Crystal.
from Scary Horror Show.
What's up, y'all?
We're coming live from the Horror Cave to do a review for the 25th anniversary of Scream 2.
KJ.
Huh?
It's time for the Scary Horror Show.
Let's get it. Dysfunctional Non-Couple is back.
Hey, y'all.
Doing the review for Scream 2.
Scream 2.
So, Scream 2 came out 25 years ago. You know what that means, Crystal?
What?
We've been seeing movies a long time,
Yes,
y'all.
we have.
But, so we're going to jump right into it because we don't play. This is a sequel to one of the greatest horror movies of all time. If you saw my last review, you know I feel that way.
Yes.
So, Scream 2 actually takes place a year later in real time, but in the movie's time, it takes place 2 years later for whatever reason. Sydney is away at film school at a college.
Well, she wasn't in film school, but she was in college.
Okay, my apologies. She was away in college, starting her life over after the events of the first movie.
Yes.
My boy Randy has decided to join her, and they introduce us to a new cast. Has a roommate, she has a boyfriend.
Her name is Hallie. Boyfriend's name is Derek.
And they have a homeboy that's just a hang around her named Mickey.
Yes.
So strange things start to happen. The movie actually starts off with a great kill scene with Jada Pinkett and Omar Epps getting slaughtered in the movie.
Right.
In the actual, I say in the movie, what I mean is it's a movie based on Scream called Stab.
Movie inside a movie.
Yep. So they're going to premiere of Stab, which is based on the Scream Killings, the book by Gail Weathers, Woodsboro Murders. So they too get murdered at the beginning of the movie. Kind of, gruesome, actually.
Yes. Very intense.
And it's funny too because just like in Scream 1, they picked Jada Pinkett at this point in time was a huge star. They picked her to die first in the movie, her and Omar Epps.
Actually, she was, they wanted her to play the roommate.
Nice.
She was supposed to, that's one of my facts, she was supposed to play the roommate, but it conflicted with her starring in another movie called Woo, being the main character. So she opted to just be in the beginning kill scene instead, so she could film the movie.
Side note, if you guys haven't seen Woo, don't go see it. We don't do reviews for movies like that, but it wasn't good. She probably should have done Scream 2. But, it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's another review for another day for somebody else other than us because we do horror movies. But, it turns out that the reason these two were killed is because they shared names similar to the names of the original victims.
Scream 1.
And it kind of just takes us down this whole path, and Sydney realizes that she thought she had gotten away, but she didn't. Gail shows up. Her and Sydney box again.
With her new cameraman.
Yeah, new cameraman, played by, I think his name is Dwayne Martin.
Yes.
He's actually hilarious. I don't know why he didn't make it in any more Scream movies.
He was funny.
He was a pretty funny guy. The lovely Anise Neal, who I have a crush on, by the way. Side note. Hey, Elise, how you doing, sweetie?
Sydney's roommate, y'all.
She plays Sydney's roommate, as Crystal said. She's a great character. Her and Dwayne Martin have some on-again, off-again lines that only a few people would get. So, because they ended up actually doing the show later on called All of Us, that they were husband and wife on.
Yeah.
No, boyfriend and girlfriend on. Sorry. But yeah, so that kind of led to that. Randy in this movie is great.
Yes.
Great character. He breaks down horror movies again, but he breaks it down from a sequel level.
Yes.
And they have a great scene in, I think it was Randy's film class, where they talk about how sequels are inferior
to the original.
But they brought up some good sequels. Terminator 2, which is one of my favorites, was a superior sequel, I think.
Aliens.
Yep, Aliens. Yep.
Yes.
And one thing about this movie, it just has like a who's who of 90s. They had the guy that played Pacey in Dawson's Creek. He was in there. Sarah Michelle Gellar was in there from Buffy. Who else was in there? They had the girl from Urban Legend who was at the time was a Noxema actress.
Yeah. I remember her. She was in the movie Urban Legend, and she was an Noxema girl. Yeah.
And as we said, they had Jada Pinkett and Omar Epps. So it was like a who's who of 90s actors in there.
You can tell it's a sequel. They have a bigger budget. It's Scream has made a name for itself, so they were able to get more established actors for the second movie.
Yeah, definitely. And so basically, after the whole film school scene, it just basically takes us on another whodunit. And a lot of people end up getting slaughtered. As Randy said in when he was talking about the sequels, the body count is always higher. So all the people I named pretty much got it. Sarah Michelle Gellar, she died pretty gruesomely. Now, one thing about this movie, it kind of went away from what we said about the last movie about the females being stronger. There were a lot of helpless female kills in this one where they were screaming and begging for help. So. I noticed that was a difference, but you can't do everything right.
Right.
So, Chris, what are some of your thoughts about the movie? What did you think about it?
Well, it's interesting that you say that about the female killers. I think too the characters had changed a little bit. They were so strong and just fearful. I think after the events of the first one, it kind of maybe changed them a little bit, made them a little bit more apprehensive. Because I know Gail in the first one, she was very just like, I don't care. I'm trying to get this story. I'm gonna be here, even though there's a kill on the loose. And then in the second one, she was a little bit more like, okay, wait a minute, and is this going on again? She was a little bit more cautious. So I think they might have added to just, because now they know what they're going up against, they're all kind of getting fearful of, oh gosh, it's happening again.
Right.
So I think that's what played into that a little bit with the characters.
Fair enough. Now, one character that did not feel that way, I don't know, he had his chest out in this one, was Randy. He kind of talked a lot of mess to the killer, a lot of mess, and unfortunately, he ended up paying for it with his life.
Right.
R.I.P. Randy.
So sad.
Press F12 in the chat to pay respects. But so unfortunately, he died, and he was one of my favorite characters in the whole Scream series. But he died. Dewey was in this one as well.
Yes.
Dewey has this strange dumb luck. He got attacked by the killer, but the paramedics were like, it just hit some old scar tissue.
Yeah,
so basically what that means is he got stabbed in exactly the same place that he got stabbed in the first one.
And Dewey's a good guy, so we want to see Dewey live.
Yeah, but it's just crazy dumb luck. Now let's move on to the ending, unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
I have some interesting facts, but we can do it after that.
Yeah, we'll do that. So let's move on directly to the ending. So the ending, one of the killers, there were two killers in this, and as is normally the case. One of the killers was their weird film homeboy Mickey, which wasn't a shock to me.
Not really.
But the other killer kind of shocked the crap out of me. So she comes out holding a gun, pointing at Gail, and Sydney says, Mrs. Loomis. Mrs. Loomis, of course, is Billy's mom. So that means the second killer in this movie was the mother of the original killer, Billy Loomis. And it was shocking because she had been all throughout the movie. Nobody ever pinpointed it. Nobody ever shouted it out. She was playing a reporter. I think her name was Debbie Salt or something like that.
Yes, that was her name.
And she was kind of challenging Gail throughout the movie.
She was. And I kept wondering, why do they keep showing this lady? She was kind of getting on Gail's nerves a little bit.
But so the reason they kept showing her is because she's the killer. Shocked me. I did not expect that.
I didn't see that one either.
And I remember when I was in the movie theater, everybody was like, "Oh my god," because nobody expected it.
Nope.
So,
and because she was a woman too.
Yeah. So, but in the end, the suspected killer from Scream 1, Cotton Weary, comes in and saves the day by saving Sydney, killing Debbie, and Gail and Sydney kill the other character brutally. They shoot him
when he jumps up for a jump scare, I think.
They shot him a whole bunch of times.
I was like, y'all better get it. Now that's where the woman gets strong again, right there.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. So as the movie goes off, they try to interview Sydney, and the whole thing throughout this with Cotton was, he wanted his 15 minutes of fame. He wanted to get his, because he went to jail for murder.
He wanted retribution.
Yeah. So Sidney just hands it over to him. Sidney was like, look, I didn't do anything. It was all Cotton.
You
so
should talk to him. He's your guy.
Yep. So, Cotton gets his 15 minutes of fame, and that's how the movie goes off.
Yes.
So it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I liked it. Unfortunately, my boy Randy got killed. Mm-hmm. This was also another movie directed by the master of horror, Wes Craven. So, respect to him. Rest in peace, Wes. So Crystal, why don't you go and give us those facts, and then we will jump into final scores.
Okay, so I did find out that the original screenplay was leaked.
Oh, so, really? Okay.
The screenplay writer, Kevin Williamson. So it got leaked online. So the original plot was to have the roommate Haley and the boyfriend Derek be the killers. They were in a secret relationship together, and they were going to be the killers. That got leaked online, so they had to.
Haley, okay.
Yeah, they had to scrap all that, and they had to. So when they started filming and went to production, there was no finished ending, and that's not usually how it goes. So they didn't have an ending. They had to rewrite everything, major parts.
Gotcha.
And because of that leak, they had to keep the cast members in the dark. Mm-hmm. So they didn't even know what was going on until they got to those scenes. They had to film those scenes. So it was kept a big secret because of the leak. They changed the type of paper that they printed on, just a gray paper, just to make sure that it wasn't photocopied or anything like that. They went all out. They went all out just trying to protect that secret. So because of that, the cast members, they created bets to figure out, see who could figure out who the killers were. Okay. And David Arquette won. He figured out who it was. So he won that bet. Okay. And then I'm trying to see one other fact. I think that's everything. I had another fact.
Okay, so we're just going to move on to final score time. You gave yours for Scream 1, so I'm going to get mine first. Yes. This movie was good. It was not great like Scream, the original Scream, but it was still very good. And again, just the whole killer aspect with the killer being Billy's mom shocked me. So I'm going to go on and give it 4 out of 5, which is a very high score. So yeah, definitely. Crystal, what do you give it?
Okay, and I remember my facts, so I'll give that to you in a minute. But my score, bear with me on my score. I give it 4 knives.
Some bloopers.
I give it 4 knives as well. Not as great as the first one, but still very good. I like how they go into the history of movies and sequels. They kind of bring reality to it, talking about the real movies, Terminator 2, Aliens, The Godfather Part 2. So they tie it in, make it real, and I like all the interesting facts about movies and things. So 4 knives for me. And the other fact was that Scream did so well. The first Scream, it became kind of like a mega hit.
Yeah.
So when it was when they announced their release date, 2 other big movies were supposed to come out the same week. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow Never Dies, which is a James Bond movie, and Titanic. But because Scream was coming out, they were a little fearful, so they changed their release dates so they wouldn't lose any box office sales due to Scream.
Okay, I don't think y'all heard that. Scream was so big that they pushed Titanic back.
Titanic and Tomorrow Never Dies? That's a James Bond film.
No.
James Bond does good too.
Yeah, but Titanic was the biggest grossing movie of all time.
And they obviously made the right decision because Titanic made millions of dollars.
Yep. So, there you go. There are your facts. Those are our scores.
Yes.
Join us next time. This is KJ.
And your girl Crystal.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Please. Follow us at Scary Horror Show across the board.
Yes.
And check us out at the movies and at scaryhorrorshow.com. Peace.
Hello.
scaryhorrorshow.com